Hey folks, I'm out at the ranch out in Joshua Tree this weekend. The first time that I've been here in probably a month and a half because of all of our tiki adventures in April and May. Joining me today is, you can see her back there, come here, is Luca. This is actually Luca's hometown, and tomorrow is the 7th anniversary of Luca's adoption day. So we're out here celebrating. Tally and Lola are back home in San Diego doing something. We'll catch up with them Monday. But Luca and I are out here at the ranch where the Snakebite Lounge is, Luca's famous Snakebite Lounge. It's about 50 feet the other way. We're sitting in one of Luca's ball chairs. She commandeered them when I bought them shortly after she was adopted. So I rarely sit in these things. She mostly sits in them or lays in them. And I'm gonna let her go because she's camera shy. She would rather be chasing rabbits or squirrels or coyotes or snakes or whatever she'd be doing. So Luca, run along. I got some business to take care of. So it's only Saturday afternoon, which means that I got to go to the swap meet yesterday in San Diego and the swap meet here in Yucca Valley this morning. And I did find some things. It wasn't, I would call plentiful, but I found some nice stuff. And the focus this week is mostly on CDs. I found a lot of music this week, and music is either feast or famine. I found a little bit of vinyl, but a lot of CDs, and one of the batches looks like a hoarder situation, and I'll explain. But let's run through what I picked up. Yesterday in San Diego, I found 4 CDs by the band The Cocteau Twins, if you remember them. There's one, there's another one, and then this one, which would be upside down because somebody put the tray card in wrong. So the Cocteau Twins were kind of like ethereal, stuff like that, mood music. Their moment was in the late 80s, early 90s. I don't know anything about this band. I just know they're like a hipster thing. I've heard of them. Of Montreal. I'm going to assume they're Canadian, but you know, they could be from Tennessee or something like that. One of my favorite bands is Oasis. The mastermind of Oasis is a fellow by the name of Noel Gallagher. He's the guitar player, the primary songwriter, and sometimes vocalist when his brother Liam was too drunk or high or just didn't want to show up. His solo act, the High Flying Birds. Mark Ronson, he's the guy who gave you Amy Winehouse, and then did some stuff with that guy Bruno Mars and some other people. But he gave you Amy Winehouse, so we'll check it out. Dusty Springfield, cash grab 20th Century Masters, but it has all the hits on it. I Only Want to Be With You, Wishing and Hoping, All Cried Out, you know, all of them are here. Dusty, huge influence in the 60s. The band XTC, Andy Partridge and the crew, you know, they only did one tour, I believe, and that was way back in the early 80s. And I think their last show was in San Diego, and he had a nervous breakdown, and they never toured again. This is an album by then that I didn't know existed, or I don't have. Now, some of this next stuff I have, but it was either thrown in or it was, the price was negligible. So I picked it up anyways. I'll give it to friends, trade it to record stores, things like that. Complete Perfect Cool by Miles Davis. We're starting to get into some less alternative, less punk rock stuff, more jazz, blues. Howlin' Wolf, and this is what I call a truck stop or an aftermarket record. It's a record on a label you never heard of that has a bunch of songs you might have never heard of, and maybe some you have that are from different records and different albums, and they're just mashed together and they're put out, and you'd find them at a truck stop or a Dollar General or something like that. But it was $1. 2 guitar heroes, jazz guitar heroes, Jim Hall, Pat Metheny. If you don't know who Jim Hall is, check him out. Bobby Hutcherson, the master of the vibes. Here he is with Al Grey and Dave Burns. I don't have this. Was pretty excited to find it. Pee Wee Russell. This is actually a 4-disc set, just disguised as a single disc. And Rashawn Roland Kirk. He was blind. He played the saxophone. Sometimes he played 5 of them at a time. Played the clarinet, free jazz, avant-garde stuff. Roots of rock and roll, blues, boogie woogie, jump blues, early rock, T-Bone Walker. It's a box set. There's, let's see, 2 discs on here. Kind of big, back in the day before they were eco-friendly. Then we have a 4-disc set of Johnny Hodges, the saxophonist. You can tell I like jazz. Buddy Tate, more saxophone. This looks like it's an aftermarket CD, but it's actually on Impulse, which is the house that Train built. Dizzy Gillespie, one of America's greatest musicians. Here, this is an aftermarket CD. It's a combination of 2 albums, one by Dizzy and one by Shirley Horn. Milt Jackson, Bebop, so you know what that's about. These guys were a vocal quartet, the Hi-Lo's, back when, you know, college quartets and choirs and things like that were a big deal. Jimmy McGriff on the organ at the Apollo, 125th Street, where I used to hang out with the conspiracy theorists. Lester Young, a bunch of other folks in Germany. What year is this? 1952. Roy Eldridge, Hank Jones, Ray Brown, Mac Roach. Wow, really good stuff. Jerry Mulligan and Chet Baker. Aha. This is John Clayton and Chico Hamilton. Actually, oh, I was bamboozled. It's some guy named Jeff Hamilton. I don't know who that guy is. They got $1 for me. I should have been paying better attention, but I'll check it out and find out who that is. Pal Farlow. He is a jazz guitar player. And then this is a compilation of arrangements, and it has Oliver Nelson and some other jazz greats on it. These were all $1. And just when I thought I had bought enough CDs, I found about 6 boxes of CDs, new. Most of them were new. And they weren't only in the shrink wrap, but they were in Ziploc sandwich baggies. And that's gonna probably create a little glare, but I found like 30 of these. And this tells me it's a hoarder situation. I've seen this before with things in Ziploc bags that don't need to be. Brand new, that means that people are buying these and they're not listening to them or anything. I've seen this probably 3 times before. There was a Stax Sinatra, and I'm gonna go through those in a minute. This record or CD caught my attention. It's 24 songs about smoking. Yes, smoking used to be cool. It's not now, and it hasn't been for a long time. Here, we do not endorse lung cancer or cancer of any kind, or smoking of any kind. The King, that's what they call him. I think the King is Rick James, but this is the King, the famous cover that was copped by many other bands. More jazz, Johnny Hodges, Jimmy Noon, Willie the Lion Smith, who happened to be Jewish. Somebody responded that they didn't know I was Jewish. How do you not know I'm Jewish with this huge nose? And I'm an attorney. I'm from New York. I'm married to a younger woman who's Catholic. I live in SoCal. I have 2 homes. My dad lives in Florida. My last name is Kraus, which means kinky in German, as in kinky hair, not kinky sex. So, I know the Chris might throw you off, but you'd have to ask my mom for that. Why she named me that. Hot Lips Page. Gee, I wonder what instrument he plays. Couple more jazz records. Red Allen, Coleman Hawkins. And I'm starting to get boxed in here by so much of the goodies I got. One of my favorite actors and favorite people in the world, actually, Harry Belafonte, double album on CD. Famous, probably his most famous record, Calypso. An evening with Harry Belafonte, that must have been extremely cool. Belafonte sings the Caribbean. And then, I haven't got to the Sinatra yet, but there was a stack of Jackie Gleason records. And you know, the guy from The Honeymooners. What's the movie? The Sting? Is that the one? Where he plays Minnesota Fats, the pool movie. And he put out all these like easy listening records, and here's one of them. And then there was 3 more. And I apologize for the glare, but I wanted to show you how just insane this person was that bought CDs, kept them in the shrink bag wrap, never listened to them, and then wasted these perfectly good sandwich bags, which I'm gonna have to find a use for. Oh, we got some more jazz here. Benny Carter, Henry Mancini, Peter Gunn. Now, you should know who Henry Mancini is. He did every movie, every TV show, and you should know who Peter Gunn is. And Quincy Jones, one of my heroes, once said, when God gives you a tune, you take it. Because if you don't, he's gonna go next door to Mancini's house. Yes, I have this, but it was $1. So somebody else is gonna get this because I'm an incredibly generous guy. Looks like we're almost at the Sinatra. But before we get to him, Matt Monro. You probably don't know who Matt Monro is. And if you do, he's the guy that sang the theme from Russia with Love, the Sean Connery James Bond movie. He was a Sinatra-esque crooner who had his moment, who's probably not remembered very much today. And then, these are all Frankie CDs. I have most of these, but like I said, they were $1. And just to hit the highlights, ones I didn't have, the soundtrack for Pal Joey and the soundtrack for Guys and Dolls. Now, if you've ever seen Guys and Dolls, the first question you have to ask yourself is, Frank Sinatra's in this movie, but for some reason Marlon Brando does most of the singing. Why is that? Nobody knows. It's one of the greatest mysteries of the world. If we could go back in time and switch those roles, I think it'd be a much better movie, but you'd have to ask the producer why that happened. A couple other things. Cufflinks. I have a couple hundred pairs of these. Our Martin Denny soundtrack has ended. Cufflinks, I got these for, can you believe it, $2. $2. Now, as you learned last week with the little box that I bought, I do buy some strange things, some stuff. This is a Moleskine copy notebook. I take notes in these things. I do stuff. I love these notebooks. That was $1. And then, Marilyn Monroe. Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, along with Jane Russell. They're showing off their behinds. That was sexy back then. It's still sexy now. 2 beautiful women. I got this for Luca so she can start drawing herself. This is one of these old how-to draw books. I have a bunch of these, and I'm actually thinking of having a Luca art contest for one of our events, and maybe I'll figure out how to draw, because I'm not artistically inclined, and I'll try to draw Luca. Back home, like all good Jews, my favorite food was Chinese food. So here, it totally sucks. It's horrible. But back home, it's incredible. I've always wanted to write a Chinese food cookbook. I know that's kind of strange for an Italian Jew from Buffalo, but you know, we all have goals. A friend of mine gave this to me today, the Encyclopedia of Chinese Cooking. There's bound to be something in here. Now, I usually prefer the more vintage ones of these. These are the Sunset books, but I actually have to build one of these soon. So I'm gonna give it a viewing. I probably have about 30 of these that I've scanned that are on my computer. I don't think the person who had these knew what they were. It was in a stack of books that were $1. I mean, pretty much everything here was $1. But these are Italian crime fiction, and there's 3 of them here. There's The Crocodile, which is the title, the nickname of the main character of these books, The Day of the Dead, and I Will Have Vengeance. Like a good Italian, I will have vengeance. By the way, rest in peace, Ray Liotta. So this is Maurizio De Giovanni. He's an Italian crime noir writer, pulp fiction sort of thing. Really, really interesting stuff. I don't think they had any idea what they had. It was $1. And one other example how they didn't know what they had. Pinstripes, not the 27-time World Series champion New York Yankees. The kind that go on cars, hot rods, vintage cars. This, I expected the guy to charge me some ridiculous price and me say no, but he said, give me $2. I know some of my friends out there are going to be texting me immediately saying, I want that book. Can you at least give me some time to look at it, please? And glazing pottery. Now, you know, Lucas Snakebite Lounge, in conjunction with Eric October, made a mug for our Tiki Oasis Arizona sweet party, official sweet party. And we're doing another thing for Tiki Oasis San Diego with our good friend David Outline. And I'm starting to do some research on mugs. And somebody gave this to me today. So maybe I'll pass it on to one of my friends. Maybe I'll read it. Who knows? My favorite color is orange. It should be navy blue, but it's orange. Look what I found. Vintage travel bag. I've never seen one like this. And this was actually owned by, it's still on here, Roland Hewitt, who lived in Desert Hot Springs. And this is back when this was a 619 area code, which is San Diego. Shows you how many people have moved to Southern California since then. This is now 760. So that it was the same area code as San Diego. That had to be a long, long time ago. I got Tally some clothes. This is a house dress, day dress sort of thing. It looks psychedelic, but it actually, on closer inspection, has some elephants on it. So I'm not sure if she's gonna like it. I got myself this gas station attendant, tire store, automotive section shirt. So I can look like Mike Patton from Faith No More. True story. I was in the bowels of Satan. No, I was in the bowels of the arena at my former graduate school, the University at Buffalo, SUNY Buffalo. And I was walking through the hallways when Faith No More was about to play there. And this guy ran, he tried to run past me. And, you know, I've always been kind of a big guy, and I kind of, you know, shoulder blocked him, and he fell into the wall. And I looked, and it was Mike Patton. Yeah, it was probably not I probably should have stepped aside. But, you know, he seemed to take it in stride and then went on and put on a show, and he's probably forgotten about it. You know, it's probably like that dipshit back in Buffalo in 1993 or whatever it was. This is an inside joke. I call Lola Chewbacca. I know she looks like one of the other things in there, the little animals from the planet, you know, with the snow. I'm not a Star Wars person. I don't know what they're called. I just know Han Solo, little bitch Luke, and Princess Leia. I say little bitch Luke because the guy's a little whiny bitch. Inside joke, I call Lola Chewbacca. This is for Tally. It's a Chewbacca t-shirt. Doesn't that look like Lola? I think so. And then I got two more vintage outfits for Tally. I'm not sure if they fit her, but they were extremely affordable. And if they don't, they're probably going to go to one of our friends who has a vintage store or sells at the vintage markets. This is kind of a little dress, or like a tea timer sort of thing. And it's actually signed on the back, Don Manuel. And there is a tag, Don Manuel of Miami. And this was $10. I couldn't pass it up. So either Tally's gonna get it or somebody else is gonna get it. One more thing. Once again, my favorite color is orange. And there's this dress here. Let's see if you can see it. I think it might be a little bit small for her. But this is Nardi's of Dallas. Somebody had this custom made. Once again, this was $10. You see it at the Palm Springs Vintage Market for $150. Don't complain, because you're not me. That's, you know, we found, I was going to say, that's it. We did find two other extremely cool things. I'm going to have to post pictures of them because they're out of camera range and they're too heavy. But I found these two amazing chairs, and I found this great vintage lamp, which I think will go into a vintage trailer that we finally finished rehabbing. It was pretty much gone, so I gutted it. It made it a shell and waterproofed the outside. And we're gonna move it up closer to the house eventually. I just put regular furniture in it. I haven't decided what I'm gonna do with it, but these two chairs, which I'll post a picture of, and this lamp are gonna look awesome in there. So that's this week's finds. Sunday out here is really, really not good for the swap meet. So I figured I'd get the video done today. Then I could go about my business. All you folks who I know are just so anxious to see what I find will be able to go about your business as well and enjoy your holiday. Happy Memorial Day. That's the day where we remember those who died in service of our nation. Civics lesson here. It's not Veterans Day. Veterans Day is a day where we honor those who served our nation. Memorial Day is where we honor those who died in the service of our nation. Please don't confuse the two. To all those who have died in the service of our great nation, I know we've took it on the chin the last 5 or 6 years with COVID, horrible leadership, just a lot of really bad things. But we still are the greatest nation in the world. Thank you to everybody who made it possible for us to live this life that we have. And think about them on Monday when you're having your hot dogs and your hamburgers and drinking that swill you call beer. Just take a moment. And as the president would say, goodbye and God bless America.